Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 2 of the Monday Q&A, so let's get balls deep in this. How would one mitigate depression and other mood changes while on a cut? Well, first of all, if you're getting depressed, and you're getting seriously depressed and having emotional issues, in good conscience, I can't tell you not to go see a therapist. Consider seeing a counselor, consider talking to somebody. It may not be your diet or a dietary deficiency that's causing it directly. It could be something else, and it's just a coincidence that they're going hand in hand. So that's something to consider. Now, the other thing to consider is that you may have dietary deficiencies. What I would recommend, if you're noticing things like big mood changes, now mood changes for me come with diet. You put me on reduced calories and I want to rip your head off and shit down your fucking neck. I don't like cutting. It makes me mean. It makes me hateful. But it doesn't make me depressed. It just makes me hate everyone and everything because I can't stand being hungry all the time. I am in physical agony from having a stomach that's grumbling. So I tend to lash out at other people sometimes, and it's really a bad habit of mine that I need to work on better, and I have worked on better at least this year. But the depression itself could be caused by a nutritional deficiency, and what you need to do is I'd go through and look at your food log for a week, because if you're cutting, I know that you're tracking every single thing that goes in your mouth. Go to something like Nutrition Self-Help Data and plot every single day and look and see what vitamins and minerals are something that you're deficient in. See what you're eating that you're not hitting 100% of the RDA on for, say, an average week based upon your food, and you know, whether it's a vitamin D or whether it's B12 or something, or even some essential fatty acid deficiency, that's probably what your cause is going to be. Something is missing. You need to get your diet rebalanced again, because a lot of bodybuilders are really bad about this. They don't know enough about nutrition like they think they do. They think that if they just eat bro foods that their diet is balanced, and it may not be. If you're really concerned about this and suffering effects, you need to actually know for sure that it's not deficient. And if you don't find any deficiencies there, then it's very probably psychological, and you need a counselor. All right, next question. Training for people over 40, natural long-time trainers, should they continue to attempt to make gains, or should they just maintain? Your thoughts and opinion, please. You know, here's the thing that older people need to get out of their head, that you can't make gains. I know a guy who's been training for over 30 years. He just turned 50 this year, and he just hit an all-time bench press PR for himself in the last year. He finally got that 170 kilo bench press that he's been working on as a drug-free lifter for 32 years. Well, he's 10 years over 40, and he finally, you know, added in the last year, he put 5 kilos on his bench press after 30-something years of training. So what you have to accept as you get older, you need to accept that you're going to recover a little slower. You're going to need to accept that you're going to need to take better care of your connective tissue and joints. You need to accept that you're going to gain muscle and strength a little slower than the younger guys. Once you accept that, you have the advantage of, hopefully you've learned more in life. You've learned to be more intelligent and thoughtful in your approach to things that you do, and to focus on the long term rather than the short term. So if you've gotten to 40 or over and you've learned these basic life skills, and the majority of people over 40 have, so a lot of them haven't, but in my experience the majority have at this point, then use those to your advantage. Those things will help you select better training programs for yourself. They will help you avoid injuries more, because you're going to be more focused on the long term, and that extra wisdom that you might have gleaned over the years can help you bridge that gap between the 20-year-olds who just flat have a physical advantage on you and making gains. Let's be honest, they do. But there's no reason you can't make gains, and so what if you start training at 40, or you've made a little bit of progress? So what if it takes you 5 or 6 years to make the progress that you could have made in 3 years at 20? You're still going to make progress. Just stay consistent with it. You're in it for the long term at that point in the game. All right, next question. Your thoughts and opinions on a protein-sparing modified fast or the rapid fat loss by Lyle McDonald? Well, they're very similar things. Lyle based it on protein-sparing modified fast. Anyways, I'll tell you what Lyle will tell you. He wrote that diet because it works. It is the fastest way for someone to lose body fat while still retaining most of their muscle mass, but he doesn't advise that you do it. He wrote it simply to give people a method because people wanted to know. He doesn't recommend you do it. I don't recommend that you do it. It's going to put you through hell. You're going to lose fat rapidly, but you may lose a little muscle mass. The idea of an approach like that is to try to minimize the muscle mass loss while shedding body fat rapidly. But what it doesn't do is preserve things like hormones, mood, stuff like that. A diet like that is going to play havoc on your hormone levels. Now, they will eventually return to normal, but for a few weeks, your hormones are going to be a mess. Therefore, your mood is going to be a mess. You're going to have possible issues with everything from rage, irritability, depression, anxiety, all sorts of problems, because your hormones are going to be completely out of whack. You're probably going to be pretty hungry. It's going to be a very uncomfortable period of time for you. And if you don't return to a proper diet immediately after doing it, and I mean immediately after doing it, you're going to regain everything you lost on it anyways. So for most people, I wouldn't recommend it. But can these things work? Yeah, absolutely. They're documented to work. We know for a fact they work. I just don't think for most people the negatives are going to outweigh the benefits. Just take a little longer and just spend a few extra weeks cutting to get the same results. Alright guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.